Hey everybody, how you doing this evening? I've been putting a lot of thought into my walk, in my life, and I get a lot of times where people may come to me and say you're being a little harsh, or you're being a little. They would use the word judgmental or self-righteous when it comes to something that I'm reading or speaking on or directing. And it's not. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm never saying that I'm right. More so than I'm saying that I'm dealing with this right now in my life. And if I don't deal with it in this way, the way I'm saying to you right now, then I'm going to fail. And what that means is that I'm forewarning you, and I'm telling you what I'm seeing. Does that still make it right? Well, that's a good question. That's a good question we should answer, or try and answer and talk about. But instead we don't do that, do we, as family, as brothers and sisters? So I started thinking about the family of God and the church and Jesus himself, and how he had the disciples and how they lived, and each one had their job and their place and position. Each one had hard lessons that they were learning within inside their community and their group. Each one was walking not only an example of why we need Jesus, but an example of how Jesus wanted us to be. You see both of those stories mixed into the scriptures and into the testaments. So we look at what Jesus calls in the church, and it says not to deny yourself. I'm thinking about that. Why is it that I stopped going to church? Why did I stop joining together with those people? In fact, why did I start again? So these are two very good questions. Bit of my testimony: when I was born, I was sick. I was very ill, apparently, and apparently I was not going to make it. So I'm told. And driving from that, I guess I did, because I'm here. Hi, how you doing? But for some reason, I noticed things and I recognized things that came to me almost like visions, almost like TV in a way. It's the best way I can explain it. Things in my life. I remember, and I've expressed some of the things that were in the doctor's room, in that surgical space that I was at. In fact, from all the way up from that point on, I have these little visions in place, blotted throughout my memory, of an old house in West Milford, with my dad digging up the water tank or sewage tank or whatever it was to repair it in the front of the house. And we were on a hill right by Greenwood Lake. I remember the hill going down. I remember almost the ice breaking me, almost falling through, or us all falling through. We were on a sled. And I remember them cutting trees on the hill. I remember so many things of that time, all the way through. And I remember the first time, the things that later in life, be it through church or family or school or anything else, people would tell me we're going against God and we're sin. Yet I didn't know them to be sin. It came to me very early. Very early, the serpent came to me and started critiquing me in things that would later on prove to be great hardships. Ones that would cause me to be put away from my family or from the church, or from things that are very important in the direction and path that God would possibly have for me. And we know that all things that happen for us for evil, God makes for good. We know this, but that doesn't make the evil any better, does it? I remember walking to these steps that looked like they went down, maybe, in that Greenwood Lake area, this church that we went to. I remember I used to rock myself to sleep or bounce my head, and I went to doctors and psychologists and all kinds of things, and people trying to figure out why, putting sensors on my head. I was very active, but yet I didn't understand anything that was going on. I didn't understand people. I didn't understand why people were angry, why they hated. In fact, I didn't understand much of anything. But there was one thing that always comes to my mind in remembrance from that hospital chair where my mother looked down to me and said, "You are truly a gift. And God is going to do great things. He's going to do great things in you and through you. And that evil one come to ruin that. He come to take that away from me, to rob me." And my parents continued to say, "You are a gift from God. God is going to do great things through you." As they told me about the stories of Zacchaeus and Daniel and all these other things. Glimpses, again, just little snapshots from the Bible of things, good things, not bad things, but they did not prepare me for the evil that was attacking me. From as early on as I can remember, there's this house and in this bed where in my dreams things were coming up and grabbing me, creating fear, unless I allowed them to do certain things. I'm not even going to get into that. Into churches where things were going bad, and I can't express those things, but I'm not here to reveal any more than they were against God's will. Perversions, pain, depression. We couldn't think that a child who's acting out in early years with crying or with anything, even silence, is dealing with a form of depression. But I had things going on with me so deep that I could not express. I had no words that would express it. I had no way of showing anybody that something was going on, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know it was true, and I didn't know it was false. But I lived my life every day. I woke up and I went to sleep with the weirdest of things going on, and I just sat in fear. We like to look at people. I'm going to stop there with all that stuff because I can go on for hours in regards. And we judge them, and we say, "Well, you know, you willfully did this. You're a pervert for a reason. You lust for a reason. You molested for a reason. You steal for a reason. You murder for a reason." It's the hardening of your heart. It's your sinful nature. We give excuses to all kinds of things. Yet, was their mother praying over them in the beginning? And was there a demon or Satan sitting there listening, going, "This woman's right. This man is going to do something, and I need to stop him. This is going to be a great man of God, and I need to stop him. Get behind me, Satan." So why don't people come to church? Why did I stop coming to church? Because unfortunately, and again, this is not self-righteousness more so than this truth. I'm not talking about your church, and if you feel I am, then I guess I might be. But we made it gentle, we made it calm, we made it what we call loving, which is total bull. Unfortunately, telling the truth, saving them from total damnation or eternity in hell, that's love. Letting them sin any way that they want to, come into the church, defile that, and continue on. That's not love. I hope you understand that. Help me, Lord. So, I stopped going to church. Why? Because I couldn't trust anybody that went there. Couldn't trust my parents. They were seeing, but they weren't seeing. They just kept on saying, "Why you keep on being a bad boy," basically. Couldn't trust the church. They weren't seeing what was attacking me either. The battle that I was in either. They just kept on saying, "You just don't want to follow Jesus. Don't you know that Jesus hates that?" Well, why does he hate it? How do I stop it from happening? How do I deny my flesh? and cling to the Spirit of God, or to my spirit. Listen to the Spirit in me who's saying follow God, instead of listening to the flesh. Why? Because we've lost the sight of community. We've made it about everything but. We made it about making money. We made it about receiving things and getting things and learning gifts. Gleaning tithes from people who may have it. Looking good. A title. Everything but family. I get asked consistently because I don't go to one Pacific church alone, but I go to many. How can you learn anything, or how can you be part of anything if you're going all over the place? Because everyone who actually truly believes in God is part of my family, and I'm going to help them, and I'm going to tell them the truth, even if they say, you're being self-righteous, or you're judging, or you're doing this, or you're doing that. Am I judging right now? That's possible. I didn't get any help in church, so I stopped. I didn't get any answers in church, so I stopped. I'm not blaming God, that's for sure. And I'm not blaming the Bible, that's for sure. I'm not even blaming those people in those churches, or my family. I obviously just said I was condemned. I was cursed. There's no help for me. If I told anybody the truth now at this point, that I'm older, and I've been told that I'm just totally rotten person, and there's nothing that anybody can do, and obviously I can't figure it out, then I must be condemned. The best thing for me to do is just to stay away from everybody. And that's what I did. I hope you guys are hearing me. Are you hearing me? Now we sit and wonder. You can fill in the blanks wherever you want. That was almost 30 years ago for me. And I've been going to church for, I guess, over 10 years now. Different churches, different places, trying to help out, trying to be part, trying to learn what the truth is. Because I never could, and it's still the same way. Churches are still the same way. They're still teaching the same garbage. Or maybe the same milk. Whatever you want to call it. Whatever makes you sleep better at night. And there's some churches that help out, and they help out financially, people that may need it. I know these churches well. I love these people. I hope that they love me. But they still speak of things that were taught that did not bring us to Jesus, to walking with Him. Follow me. We're not following Him. We're just doing our own thing and calling it church. People still can't trust us. We still can't confess our sins one to another. Pray for one another, lift one another up, and get ourselves to that place as a family. Why? Because somebody's going to go, oh, that was against the law what you did. We need to call the authorities. You need to make this right to man. We're worried about people's souls, aren't we? And you want to make it right to man. Well, Matt, whatever you're saying here is not correct. And you're not going to convince me otherwise. Because if you break the law, you go against God and you go against man, and you need to pay the penalty. Obviously in heaven and on earth, right? When's the last time you drove to the police station when you went above the speed limit and turned yourself in to make it right? When's the last time you went to a sister at the church because you lusted in your eye? You looked down at her breast when she bent over. When did you make it right the last time? Unbelievable. We claim to follow God. We claim to be children. We claim to be the church that knows the right way and the way to do things. And we're hypocrites. That's why people don't come to our churches. Because they don't trust us. Because it's not family. It's a bunch of self-righteous scribes and Pharisees. who goes to the courts and goes to instead of going to the source and trying to fix it as brothers and sisters, not dragging it into the state, into this sinful nature to be judged by man. God knows the best thing for us, not them. That's why people don't darken our doorsteps anymore, brothers and sisters. Because when their hearts are convicted, they can't tell the truth. They can't confess their sins and get it off their chest. They can't hear the truth from us because of our ways. Because it's everything but Jesus' ways. I'm back in church now telling that truth. That form of truth. Telling people that the traditions are no longer the way that we're supposed to do, as the scribes and Pharisees did. That we've got to start hearing people and healing people and bringing them to the real Jesus, the real family, and to leave this other crap behind. Can you hear me? Have a good night.